condition broke down and I didn't know it was broke down. I was wondering why it was so hot. Anyway, good to be back here, and trying to follow a politician is not a good thing. So, what can I say? Actually, Mark hit right on the mark what I was going to talk about. He said KAC is about educate, organize, and empower. And that's the theme that I wanted to share with you today. What does it mean to be Korean American? And back then in 1980s, a majority of first generation Korean immigrants, were gung-ho nationalistic Korean. They didn't want to be used term Korean American. They didn't want to be Korean American. They wanted to remain as gung-ho nationalistic Korean. And things began to change during the latter part of the 1980s, and finally 1992, when everything erupted, I think they began to change their perspective. And what does it mean to be Korean American? I founded nation's only Korean American research center at my university. And there are many Center for Korean Studies that study Korea. But our research center focuses on Korean American community. I named Young-Oh Kim Center for Korean American Studies. Do you know who Young-Oh Kim is? Let me ask that question. How many of you know Young-Oh Kim? See, only a handful. That's the state of Korean America. That's the state of Korean America. To understand who you are, what you are, and what you want to be, I think the first step begins with learning about your own history. That is Korean American history. Unless you understand where you came from, you are not going to know who you are. You are on shaky ground. So, although the person who introduced me that I authored 4 books, actually it's 8 books. I brought some copies outside. I hope some of you have a chance to read some of the books, including Young Kim story, which is really a fascinating story. He defined himself as I am 100% American and I am 100% Korean. That's how he defined himself. He refused to split 50-50. Instead, he said, I am 100% committed American and 100% I can help my mother country as well. And let me quote Dr. Carter Woodson, who coined the term originally Negro History Week. And now we celebrate a Black History Month. And he defined a Black history as knowledge, identity, and power. What do you mean by that? It's that history is like a source of information that should be used like any other tool. And history creates one's identity. And history regulates human behavior that could politically, culturally, socially empower oppressed population. I think I can use the same definition to define what it means to be Korean American. What do you know about Korean American history? We celebrate January 13th as a Korean American Day, right? Did you know that? Okay, that's good. That's good to know. The reason why we celebrate Korean American Day on January 13, 1903, 121 Korean immigrants from Incheon, Jeongeul-po, landed in Honolulu, Hawaii, and that was the beginning of official Korean migration to Hawaii, who came as sugar plantation laborers. About 1,000 of them returned back to Korea. The other 1,000 came to mainland, including California, Oregon, and Washington State. Do you know the fact that, I'm very proud that I will be, publishing this upcoming book on first Koreatown, USA. Guess where that is? Can anyone?
Riverside.
Yes, thank you. Which I reside currently. Riverside, California is the first Koreatown in the United States. And this new founding virtually shakes up entire Korean American history. It's uncovering a buried past. That's what we do at our research center. We want to come history alive and part of our experiences, part of our own identity, and give us way to empower ourselves. An early Korean immigrant community can be defined in two ways. One, church, Christianity, and another, independence movement. Remember, Korea was colonized by Japan until 1945. Those immigrants who came to the United States, although they were far away from their homeland, they dedicated themselves not only to Christianity, but also independence of Korea. They were very poor. They were living in poverty. When I was doing research on Pachaka Camp, Riverside, the first Koreatown, they were living in one community, no running water, no electricity. It was shack, temporary shack built by Chinese laborers who were building railroad in the 1880s. And after completion of railroad, they moved on, and Korean immigrants came. And who found it? An Chang-ho, Dosan An Chang-ho. Does anybody know who he is? Dosan An Chang-ho. Again, we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go. An Chang-ho is considered one of the most patriotic, important historical person in modern Korean history. He's an educator, philosopher, political activist who tried to unite Korean American community or Koreans abroad all over. And he passed away in 1938 after torture and imprisonment by Japanese. By the way, his son is very famous. Philip Ahn. Does anybody know who he is? Again, we failed. Philip Ahn is the first Asian American actor who was awarded a star, the Walk of Fame in Hollywood Boulevard. Again, we don't know our own history. This is really a sad situation here. And let me say a few words about Yukon and Young Kim. The early Korean immigrants who grew up in Los Angeles and Hawaii, they grew up learning to hate Japanese because they were all about independence movement. And Young Kim was one of them. You know what? Later on, he became the leader of 100th Battalion and 442nd Regimental Combat Unit during World War II. Do you know what those two units are? It's mostly Japanese American unit. When more than 120,000 Japanese Americans were accused as enemy aliens by the own government, the United States government, they were sent to the concentration camp. And not knowing the future of their own family members, many young Japanese American men enlisted the U.S. Army. And they established a segregated Japanese American Army unit called 100th Battalion and 442nd Regimental Combat Unit. Young Kim, the Korean, was assigned to the 100th Battalion as a second lieutenant. Can you imagine the first encounter between Japanese American soldiers and this Korean officer? You know, Korea was colony of Japan at the time. And the commanding officer of that battalion, as soon as he reported, first second lieutenant Young Kim reporting, sir, and he said, I will transfer you out to another unit. I know Japanese and the Koreans don't get along, and this is a mistake. And second lieutenant Young Kim said, why, sir? I'm an American, they're American, we'll fight as Americans. And he stayed. And the legend was born. And he, you know, I can talk about him for the next 10 hours. Literally. I strongly encourage you to, you know, go out there and buy and read his biography. And he said, he's responsible for pretty much liberating Rome in 1943. He's responsible for rescuing Leaning Tower of Pisa. He fought in battle in France. Later on, he got out, honorably discharged, and when he heard the war broke out in Korea, he re-enlisted the U.S. military and went to Korea again to fight for his mother country. And as a result, he's the only man I know who received the equivalent of a Medal of Honor from Italy, France, and Republic of Korea. Unfortunately, he did not receive Medal of Honor from his own country, United States of America. And although he received more than 20 medals, including Distinguished Service Cross, Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Heart, so many to name. So many medals. That's only half of the story. He retired in 1972 and founded numerous non-profit organizations in Los Angeles area, including your own KAC, CARE, Korean Health Education Information Center, Japanese American National Museum, Korean American Museum, Center for Pacific Families, dealing with a lot of battered women. He founded he founded or co-founded majority of non-profit organizations in Los Angeles area. And he served as a chairman of Go for Broke Educational Foundation, which is pretty much a Japanese American Veterans Association. The reason why he kept that promise is that if I survive this war, I will devote my entire life for the betterment of the community I belong to. That's what he promised himself when his men were dying in his arms during the battle. And he kept that promise. So he was not only a great war hero, but more importantly, he was a humanitarian who fought for the rights of minorities, fought for the rights of women, adoptees, orphans. And these are the stories that we should know and we should spread, right? And be proud. But unfortunately, we don't know that. Let me jump into 1970s. Korean American community was very small in terms of a number and invisible until 1992. Nobody knew and nobody cared about Korean American community. What are you? Are you Chinese? No. Are you Japanese? No. Are you Filipino? No. What the heck are you? That was a typical, question until 1992. Nobody knew anything about Korean American community. The only thing they knew anything about Korea was, MASH, the Korean War. Hell broke loose in Los Angeles. The so-called Black Korean conflict, LA riots, civil unrest, and in the Korean American community we call 4.29, April 29th, just like 9/11, April 29th. Remember that, 4.29. It was a watershed moment. It was a turning point. It was a wake-up call for us. You cannot be silent. What are the lessons? You have to fight for your visibility. You have to fight for political empowerment. At the time, we did not have a single elected Korean American official in the United States. That was a sad state, and shortly after several, including Chang were elected in the state of Oregon and in Los Angeles, representing the Korean American community. And we were isolated. And we learned that we have to break out of this isolation of Koreatown and become part of greater multi-ethnic, multi-racial community. We have to be proactive, really build multi-ethnic, multi-racial coalitions. We need to be visible and empowered. I think that's the lesson that we learned as a result of LA riots of 1992. And since then, I think Korean American community tried very hard to politically empower, and we made some gains, but still a long way to go. When you compare to other groups, not only Jewish American community, African American community, Latino communities, in terms of political empowerment, the Korean American community, the Japanese and Chinese American community is far ahead of Korean American community. And organizations such as KAC, and we also have a new organization, Council of Korean Americans, based in Washington, D.C. And NetCal, so there are several other organizations that are trying to give a voice and strength and empowerment to the Korean American community. I think maybe 5-10 years from now, they could come together and have an even greater national convention to really strategize and how to empower our community. Do I still have time?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. And individually, I think the Korean Americans have done very well as a minority. If you look at the statistical data, how many Korean and Asian American students attend Ivy League schools? How many Asian American students attend University of California system? Proportionally, individually, Korean Americans and Asian Americans have done quite well, education, in terms of education. Collectively, where are we? I think that's the question. And the reason why, Mark suggested that Korean community doesn't support each other is because we lack historical consciousness. We don't know our own history, therefore we don't really have a clear understanding, idea of who we are. Once you know who you are, I want to fight for my community. I want to fight, help my community. That commitment is lacking. Why? Because we are standing on a shaky ground and only care about self, individual. But at least, we are here together, sharing some common goals. And in order to attain the common goals, I think the first step should be learning, informing, educating about your own history, where we came from. I think that is the foundation for sharing collective identity and developing collective community consciousness, I think then we can do together. So I hope, this, I can go on since I offer class on Korean American class, Korean American community for entire quarter. But I don't want to bore you to death. So let me just end here. I hope you make that commitment beginning today. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Professor Chang?